Hello, everyone. You're listening to Game Rivals, a podcast where a Nintendo fan and a PlayStation fan talk about the latest games and happenings in the gaming community and industry. I'm one of your hosts, Maximilian X, and together with SeanTemplar, we bring you this bi weekly podcast about video games.
Alrighty, welcome back everybody to a new episode of the Game Rivals. I'm one of your hosts, SeanTemplar, and on the other side is my good friend.
Maximilian X, yo,
Hey
everybody.
man, what up? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Not yeah. It's been a good couple of weeks, at least in terms of gaming.
Yeah, I actually look forward to these recording sessions. It's kind of hard to contain because it's every 2 weeks, so it's really hard to sit still. And every time we have one of these sessions, like, yeah, we're gonna do this again.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Ah, man, good times, man, good times. Good times to talk about a lot of interesting stuff that's happened.
Oh, indeed, indeed. Let's get started with our first segment, the news. I think you want to
Right.
kick this off with something really cool that happened last week.
Well, something interesting that happened last week, I wouldn't necessarily call it cool because it's been rumored for as long as the Switch has been out, which is the Switch Mini, in quotes, which has now been officially revealed as the Nintendo Switch Lite,
And
which is
light it
a
is indeed.
handheld. Yeah, because it's a handheld only Switch, which does not hook up to your TV. It does not hook up to a dock. It has none of the moving parts, so no rumble, no IR camera. Um, Still not sure about the motion control. I'm pretty sure it still has the motion sensing, and it doesn't have removable controllers, and it's a little bit smaller, but it has an improved chip in it, so the battery life is a little bit better, like a half hour more. But yeah, basically,
It sounds
it's a
like it's light on features.
well, it's light on features and it's also cheaper. And don't be a wise guy.
Sorry, just so it's really easy. Did they announce the Dutch pricing? Because we know the US pricing.
No, because here's the thing: when it comes to at least Nintendo and European pricing, they don't do they don't set a price, they don't set a market price for their devices. They just say, well, there's what the market would expect, and basically retailers are allowed to price it how they want it as long as it's within that range, which is also the reason why in the US a Switch costs 299, but in, like, for example, the Netherlands, it costs 310 euros if you buy it new. If you look around, you can find it for either 300, or if you are just very desperate, you can find it for 350. But
If
most of the time, the 350 is actually a bundle which comes with a game.
But let me get this straight. The normal Switch is 199 or 299 in the States?
In the States, it's 299,
299. And that's without
and
tax.
I'm assuming that's without, yeah, that because it's MSRP, so it's without tax. So depending on which state you buy it, you either have to pay more tax on it or less or none at all.
I thought
Like,
they would just say, "Hey, it's 299," and then just literally replace the dollar sign with the euro sign because that's what Sony and Microsoft do. They just take the US pricing
yeah,
and
Nintendo doesn't do that.
they swap out the dollar for the euro pricing.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
Nintendo doesn't do that. Well, at least Nintendo doesn't suggest retailers do that. Retailer just do their own thing. So when, like, for example, the Switch came out first back in 2017, there were places that were selling the Switch for at least 20 euros more than you should be paying for it. So yeah, it's kind of
Right.
a rip.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Switch Lite in the US is gonna cost 199 MSRP. I'm assuming that it's probably gonna be in the similar range in Europe, so about 210 euros or 200 euros, in and around that ballpark, which is about 30 euros or so less than the new 3DS.
Is there a 3DS?
Yeah, the new 3DS is still, like, the new 3DS still exists, but
I thought they already stopped that because of the Switch because it kind
Nope,
of defeats
it's
the
not been
purpose.
discontinued, and Nintendo said they are not discontinuing it anytime
Are they
soon.
still
They're
making
not
games for
supporting
it?
it software
Yeah,
wise.
because are they making games for it?
Not themselves. Nintendo themselves have the last game the last game that came out was, I think, Mario and Luigi, one of the Mario and Luigi RPG remakes. There was a new game from Atlas that came out around E3, which is Persona Q2,
Okay.
which is a Etrian Odyssey clone, a really good one, by the way.
Huh.
But yeah, that there's not a lot coming out on the 3DS, but they still say that they're supporting it, which makes sense because the 3DS line is not just the new 3DS, because now you also have the new 2DS, which has the same chip as the new 3DS. So,
Jesus.
but it's a lot cheaper than buying a new 3DS. So for people that want something cheap for their kids that doesn't break easy, that's what they go for. But as I was saying when these rumors were swirling around about the Lite, this is literally so that parents can buy Pokemon for their kids on Switch and not have to worry about it breaking.
You hope.
No, 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 because it's one whole unit
Yeah, but the
and it's
screen
a
can still
pretty
crack.
sturdy unit. What?
Screen could still crack, right?
My Switch screen hasn't cracked and I dropped it like a bunch of times.
Well,
And it's a bigger screen.
lucky you.
So no, I mean Nintendo always tends to invest in, half decent equipment. So, and they're pretty good with at least the engineering part for the most part. So I don't worry about when they're making something that's handheld specific. They're kings of the handheld market. They are the handheld market.
Basically, yeah. Until we get streaming services pushing out mobile phones and mobile tablets to take over that market.
Not until 5G, but that's like what, 5, 10 years away.
I wonder. I think 5G might be here faster than we actually think. I think in the Netherlands, 5G will be here like within 2 years, maybe a year, maybe 2 years. Because there
I
are
don't know.
countries around the world already in which they're using them. I mean, for example, they have 5G in Korea, I believe, in South Korea.
Yeah, but I think that's mostly because Samsung. I don't know. Plus, in Europe, it's a bit more finicky. I mean, we still don't have cellular. We still don't have like cellular smartwatches
Yeah,
in the Netherlands
true.
because of frequency.
But I
So
think that's also partially a carrier thing, that carriers just don't want to support those things because it's an eSIM thing.
no, 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 no. I mean, they support it in other European countries.
Yeah, but then,
It is literally because of the frequencies. They either don't want to invest in it, or
oh, got it.
maybe there's something else going on with the frequencies. Maybe they don't have maybe they don't have the bandwidth yet in the Netherlands. I don't know.
Yeah, because a portable switch with a 4G connection would make sense. That's what the Vira had, for example.
Yeah, but people didn't like that because they tied that to AT&T in the US.
Yeah,
So
but for example, here, if I could buy a, let me put it this way. One of the things I'm really looking forward to, if it ever unravels well, is, for example, the ability to get to use xCloud or to use Stadia outside, and that I can just use my 4G connection because I have an unlimited data plan. So I'm
mm,
actually looking forward to using my 4G connection to be able to play for the Horizon on the go, for example, when I'm committing on the way to work, commuting, or for example, if I take my MacBook with me and I'm somewhere and I just want to feel like playing Battlefield, just being able to play Battlefield through either Stadia or XCloud,
yeah,
because that's for me that is a win. I mean, I don't need XCloud or Stadia at home because I have hardware for that already. But
true.
if I want the handheld experience, and yeah, people know that I don't have a Switch because there are games that I would want to play on the Switch, kind of which I did, such as Zelda, which I loved. But my interests lie more within either PC or console gaming from other manufacturers. But then I would love to be able to, for example, take I'll still use Forza as an example. Forza Horizon with me on the go, and that would be really
Yeah.
cool. And for that, I would love to be able to use my cellular connection instead of relying on Wi-Fi all this time, because I think it kind of has a make or break moment that it needs to be able to work on cellular, because people can't just use it only relying on Wi-Fi. It kind
Yeah,
of defeats
yeah,
the
but that
purpose
but
of the
that but
whole.
that's
Yeah.
what it's gonna be for a while, and that's also the reason why you're not gonna see like physical media die anytime soon.
Oh, I
And
don't
that's also
expect
the
to,
reason
but
and that's also the reason why you're gonna see, especially in Japan, Switch sales are gonna spike when this thing comes out. Plus, it comes out on the same day as the new Legend of, or not, the remake of Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening.
Mhm.
So that's like perfect kismet because
uh,
people are looking forward for that game. And now people can play it on a device that is smaller, more sturdier, has a better battery life, and an actual D-pad,
oh yeah.
which was a big deal when people are like, "It has a D-pad!
Oh
Oh,
no.
can they please put it on a regular Joy-Con? No!"
Why did they not
So,
do
so
that? Actually, is it for the certain
because
games?
because the Joy-Cons are supposed to be detachable from the Switch, and they're supposed to also work as a single controller.
Mm,
So when you have a D-pad, that kind of doesn't work
okay. Why doesn't it
because
work if they put on
because it's
like
not
a?
an because you can't use it as an individual button.
But they could slap on the D-pad, for example, that we have on a PS4 controller, which also works like an individual button.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. The D-pad on a PlayStation controller has never been
Awesome.
that awesome.
It's
No,
awesome. Yes, it
no,
is.
no.
I-
I used to play Street Fighter on the PlayStation 1. I got blisters because of that dang D-pad.
But it's not meant for that.
Yeah, but here's the funny part. I can play Street Fighter on a Super Nintendo, no problem, no blisters.
It's the
That's a good D-pad.
same D-pad.
No, it's not.
It's not a separate button, is it?
Yes. Yes, like it's a cross, it's literally called the cross-shaped controller. That's why it's called that way. And the D-pad on the PlayStation, the only reason why it's that way is because well, Nintendo held the patent for the D-pad for a long time.
Huh. I love the D-pad on a PlayStation controller.
Yeah, for certain games it's fine. Not all games.
Yeah, I don't play fighting
Whereas
games,
the
so
D-pad on a Nintendo system is like good for all games.
okay.
But we can agree on this: the D-pad on the Xbox 360 controller was by far the worst thing on the planet.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There,
I
we
won't
got
argue
something
with
to
you on that
agree on.
one. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, so yeah, the Lite is something to look forward to. I'm not gonna get it though because I already own a
Oh,
Switch.
it'd be so weird if you just bought another Switch. I mean, I have no idea why, in God's name, you would want to buy another Switch.
But I won't lie,
You like the
the
color,
Pokemon one looks really nice,
okay?
and I'm almost tempted to get that, but I'm like, no, nope, nope,
Oh my
I'm good.
God.
I don't need it.
Let me put it. I was actually thinking about, okay, maybe I should buy it because of the price point. It's really interesting. But then I thought I might as well spend the extra $100 and then just buy the normal Switch, because then I can also hook it up to my TV and also detach the
Yeah,
Joy Cons, because
yeah,
I'm not that big of a hand. At least when I had my Switch, I always had it at home. I never took it with me to play outside. I would either play it at home on the couch, in bed, or docked. So I'm not the group
you're not a
data.
handheld player,
No, I
which
love my
is like,
Vita, but there's nothing to play on it.
yeah, but here's the ironic part. I am the complete opposite in that because I take my Switch everywhere.
I don't do that now.
Like unless it's for like a function or something, I don't take it with me, obviously, because that would be weird. But that's what I used to do before I got my Switch. I took my 3DS everywhere. It was always either in my pocket or in my bag, and I had always something loaded in because you had the eShop on it, so
Yeah.
you can download games. Or you know, I had this like neat case that I got from Club Nintendo when Club Nintendo still exists that has like at least what is it, nine? It was 3 by 3, so that was nine. So like 18 games in there that I could just take with me. It's like in this neat little case. So yeah, I mean, there was a time that I was mostly only playing like 3DS games or DS games, which you probably could tell from my hidden gem recommendations from the past couple of weeks. But yeah, I mean, I can see this actually making the Switch grow even more this holiday season. And this holiday season is all for Nintendo because A, Sony's not bringing anything out. B,
Except,
Microsoft already announced that they're bringing out their new console. So why would you buy a new system unless you're buying maybe like the Xbox One S bundled with like 3 or 4 games?
except the Stranding.
Except Death Stranding. But the people that want to play Death Stranding already own PlayStations.
Yeah, fair point. And it's the
So
question if Death Stranding is gonna live up to the vague hype it's creating. To
exactly.
be honest, I normally always pre-order a Kojima game, and with this one, I'm actually gonna sit out and wait what the reviews are gonna say because I don't want to spend $60 on a game and then play it and then have mixed feelings. For example, Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain, I bought
Hmm.
it, and I might as well have. I wouldn't have mind waiting until it came into PS Plus because I sold my copy after I finished it, and then I got it again in PS Plus. So I think I actually would not have minded to wait for that.
Okay. Oh, only time will tell.
Yeah.
So yeah. Speaking of weird D-pads, by the way, though,
Oh God.
um,
You want to talk
Microsoft
about
did some.
abominations?
No, because it's not a. Well, first of all, it's not an abomination
It's
because
not
we were
an
talking.
abomination. It looks
No,
so
it's not an
strange.
abomination because let me just explain it to the listeners before you like dip into this thing. So
Abomination.
recently, it was found out that Microsoft filed a patent back in 2017, early 2017, for a controller, um, which was just recently granted to them this year, that connects to a base and it has two individual parts, a left one and a right part, where you have the left part that has an analog stick and the buttons on it, and the right one has the D-pad and an analog stick and the shoulder buttons on it, and of course an Xbox like icon on it so that you could press that for the home stuff and whatever. And it comes together in a unit, but it also comes apart and you can connect it to a tablet or a
Smartphone.
smartphone. And it kind of looks like something that we just talked about, as it kind of reminds me of a Joy-Con system, which is fine because, well, the patent's probably for xCloud, like a way
Yeah.
to use Xbox controller for xCloud. But people are also thinking that, oh, maybe this is the controller for the Scarlet, which would make sense because the Scarlet is probably going to push stuff like xCloud and that console server service thing that you can do for free. So if you can do that for free, why would you not have a controller that you can easily take with you on the go and use on your smartphone so that you can play games that are running on your Scarlet?
I'm actually hoping that they come up with, or maybe I'll just need to find out on AliExpress, one of those whole contraptions you click on your controller and then you can just click your smartphone into it, kind of
Yeah,
like an Nvidia
kind of like the
Shield.
Game Fies.
Yeah, or the Nvidia Shield, or
Yeah,
the portable one. I would love that. And then I'll just use my Xbox One controller, and then I'll
yeah.
just use that.
Uh, at least, but here's the thing: patents are just patents. Just because they filed a patent and they got a patent doesn't mean that they're going to work on it. I mean, Nintendo filed a patent for a mobile phone that plays video games on it like ages ago, which never came to fruition. They actually did one recently that also was about a mobile phone thing and that plays video games, but I seriously thought that they're not. They just companies tend to file patents for stuff, and sometimes these stuff become reality, and sometimes they don't become reality. And the main thing that you're hung up on is because of the what it looks like in the patent.
It looks ugly as hell.
But patent drawings are always
Let me
ugly,
put it
and
this
they're
way:
always not representative of the final
I
design. They're
cannot
just
imagine it being comfortable
mock-ups.
in my hand because it basically looks like they split an Xbox controller into two and then just attach the two sides to a tablet. And then
Did
it
you,
almost
did
feels like I'm holding a motorcycle steering wheel with a tablet in the middle of it. I mean, they couldn't be comfortable. I cannot imagine that be comfortable.
did you see the 3D mock-up that someone made
No.
based on the patent drawings? It was so
Let
ugly.
me just
Oh
quickly
my
look that up. I just wanted to laugh.
it's so bad. But here's the thing. I told you this when the news first broke that don't base it on what the patent looks like, because if that was the case, then the Switch would be this weird oval thing with two holes in it where the joysticks come out of, and digital buttons around like the screen, and the screen is like this weird oval piece of crap.
Oh, this looks so ugly. Oh, this is so ugly. See, that's why. See, that's what I meant with looks like a steering wheel on of a motorcycle with a screen in the middle.
But that's because it's a patent drawing. That is so not how it's gonna
No,
look
but
like when
I
it's
see. I'm
done.
seeing 3D mock-ups, and it looks even worse.
I know, but again, that's not how it's gonna look like. It's just so that they convey the idea.
Well, they're conveying the idea in a really wrong way. I don't feel like playing a motorcycle game with my Switch or with my tablet.
but here's the thing. Like, people are like, "Oh, that looks so weird," or like, "Oh, they're copying Nintendo." First of all, people always copy Nintendo. PlayStation.
Ah.
PlayStation.
Oh wait, because we
Um,
copied your asses and then we kicked your asses in a console war twice, or actually 3 times.
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant. Yeah, that's the exact same thing I would say if I were in your position. Irrelevant. Objection overruled.
No, but my point is that it makes sense from an xCloud
Yeah, yeah,
standpoint. If that is what's gonna be the Project Scarlet's controller, and their focus is gonna be on having hardware and cloud support, then having a controller that does that is actually pretty brilliant.
definitely. They should maybe bring out these Stadia bundles. Those XCloud bundles in which they do it with Stadia Pro. You get a subscription for XCloud, and you get a controller in for a cheaper price. That would be nice. And maybe one of those
That
holders to either plug in your phone or a stand for your tablet.
actually, that wouldn't be half bad.
Yeah, because the Xbox controller is really nice. It's one of the better controllers out there, and of course, we haven't
You
had
mean the
the
Xbox One X controller?
yeah the One S or the One X controller.
No, I've actually never. Actually, I've never held an
It's
Xbox One
even
X
more
controller.
comfier than an Xbox 360 controller.
360?
Yeah, and there's
Alright.
friends of mine have the Elite, which they are super happy about having bought, even though it's $150. They say
Are they
it's
pissed off? Are they pissed off about the Elite 2.0?
no, no, because they already have their Elite for when it first came out, so they've been using it for
Yeah.
years and really happy with it.
Yeah.
I heard a
They're
I
not
heard a
like,
weird
ah,
story
damn, I need
about
to actually like get that.
I heard a weird story about SCUF controllers, which I was kind of surprised about today.
What on earth is a SCUF controller?
Don't you know what a SCUF controller is?
I'm assuming that it's a controller that's scuffed.
No, a SCUF controller is one of those pro controllers people use for shooters such as Call of Duty. They're really popular in those Call of Duty
Oh,
scenes.
yeah.
And
Yeah, right.
a friend of
Yeah.
ours told me
Yeah, he
today
has one.
he
I
has one, and
remember.
he told me that one of his analog sticks broke, and that the analog stick would
No.
constantly just think it was pushed forward, so your character will automatically walk forward without being pressed. And then he contacted those guys, and he said, "Hey, I have a problem with my controller. Is this something we can fix in warranty?" And they said, "Well, we only provide 6 months of warranty on the controller." And he said, "Yeah, in the
What?
States, but not here in the Netherlands. We have extra laws here." And then they said, "Oh, well, we can help you." And he was really pissed. And he said, "Okay, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way." And the hard way means legislation, act, and stuff like that, or legal acts and stuff like that. And eventually, he told me that he just wrote a note and he shipped off his controller with that note, and then they shipped his controller back, and the controller was fixed.
No,
Yeah, no
seriously?
contact, nothing at all. It's just he sent it up, they fixed it, they sent it back. It was so weird. I thought they might as well for the money you've paid for one of those controllers. Those controllers are
Wow,
really
dang.
expensive.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
kidding. He was like really looking for I remember because he was like all excited about when it was gonna come in. So
yeah,
yeah, wow, freaky.
yeah, man.
All right, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool thing that they do that.
They better for the amount of the money they charge you. I had an issue with my SteelSeries headset last year. One of the batteries was swollen, it has one of those setup boxes kind of thingies, and you just plug in the
Mm,
battery and it charges the battery. And I took out the
yeah.
battery, and one of the batteries was swollen. I'm like, "Oh, okay." So reach out to them. I say, "Hey, my battery is swollen. Can I maybe get a replacement battery on the warranty? Is that something you guys could cover?" And then they sent me an email saying, "Okay, this is what you have to do. You have to smash and physically destroy your headphones." Yeah, it was my
No.
headset was broken. You have to smash your headphones, and then you have to send us a photo of the destroyed headset with the serial number on it, and then we will give you a coupon code, and then you can order a new headset. And then I sent them an email back saying, "Okay, that's super cool and all, but I see that you just have the replacement batteries for the headsets on your site. Can't you just send me a replacement battery?" And then they said, "Oh, that's actually a better idea. Here's a coupon code to get the batteries."
Why?
And I ordered the batteries, and I got the batteries in.
Why is he trying to make you commit
I don't
fraud?
know, because I was afraid if I smashed my headset, they'd say, "Well, now you smashed your headset. Now we can't provide warranty on it anymore," because they would certainly
Oh, that is
read the
so
situation wrong.
weird.
Yeah, I know. I was
That is so
completely
freaking
baffled by this
weird.
solution. I thought, "What the hell is this? I've never had this before."
What? They-
I'm
okay.
super happy with my headset, by the way. I've had it for almost 3 years now. It's really nice. It's starting to act up a little bit, so I might reach out to them again for warranty or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was one of those mind baffling moments. I'm like, okay, if you actually want me to physically destroy my head, I was actually thinking, how am I going to destroy the headset? Like, normally you just throw it against something, but they had a really specific way in which they wanted to see certain things on the photo. I thought, do I need to drive over it with a car or something? You know?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was just so weird. One of the strangest
Oh
customer support
man.
incidents I've had.
Oh, good grief. Speaking of shady practices, man, G2A.com.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's so weird.
That is probably the most interesting rabbit hole that I've been in gaming wise for quite a while. Because I mean, I told you like bits and pieces about it earlier, but for those of you listening that are not in the know, if you're not into PC gaming, I can get that. But if you're into PC gaming, that you totally know about G2A, which is a website where you can buy game keys. Um, I would say not unlike. I would say not unlike. Did you just switch?
No, I dropped my headphone adapter on my
Okay, it
keyboard.
sounded like a switch, like click.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like oh, he secretly bought a switch.
You're so deep into that ecosystem that you're just hearing sounds that aren't or associating sounds with the Switch.
uh, yeah, I mean, okay, so G2A, a place where you can buy key codes. Problem is, about half of the key codes that they sell is either stolen or gotten by ill gains.
Yeah.
And the keys that are sold through them, because G2A is not, they don't procure the codes. I mean, they're a middleman.
I can
So people
see
sell
that
their
because I've
codes.
bought something through them.
Wow, you did?
Yeah, so
And it worked?
yeah, so I buy if I get buy a game on PC, I either do it through
Yeah.
Steam or through Origin. But I, as
Okay.
everyone else in this world, do not have an infinite pool of money at my disposal. So
True.
sometimes I want to scoop up a deal.
Yeah, they can go to Humble Bundle.
Uh, for example, and earlier this year, I wanted to buy Motorsport Manager for the PC, which I've been playing a lot, if I spoke of enough. So I thought, hey, you know what? The game on Steam is $60. Let me just check if I can find a better deal. I found a deal at G2A for €9 and 77 cents. That's a huge saver. But I'm just looking up my receipt because I thought, okay, did I buy something through them? And I looked at my receipt and say, hey, indeed, I bought it from them. And when I'm looking at my receipt, it says Motorsport Manager Steam Key Global. And then it says who I bought it from. But I actually thought I bought it from them. But apparently,
Yeah.
I've bought it from a user because I see the user's name, I see his rating, I think I see
Yeah.
how many products he sold. I didn't know that they might have. I didn't know the whole the key selling scheme.
Yeah. So they're just the middleman.
Yeah,
And they allow people to sell stuff. But like half of the stuff is either stolen or gotten through ill gains. And like developers have been calling them out for years, but it's just recently started to really escalate because recently a developer, and I should have looked up the name of the developer. It's an indie developer who called them. Well, he didn't. He called them out in a very interesting way in a tweet, where he basically told people on his Twitter to not buy his game on G2A, and if they want the game really badly and they can't afford it, they're better off just pirating it because A, he doesn't see money from the sales on G2A, and B, it's a total hassle when it comes to keys that are either already used or they're gotten through ill gains because with bigger publishers, they'll block they'll block keys that are stolen if they find out that the key was not bought through a legal way. So apparently last year, was it last year? Wait, when did the last Far Cry come out? Last year?
This year, I believe it's called New Dawn. Let me double check that.
No, no, no. I mean Far Cry 5, not the pseudo sequel.
The pseudo sequel came out in February this year, and I think the Far
Yeah.
Cry 5 came
So
out
Far
last
Cry
year.
5 came out last year.
Yeah,
So that one, they had a huge breach in like key codes,
yeah.
and those were all sold through G2A. So, or at least a majority of them was sold to G2A. So when Ubisoft found out, they blocked all those codes, meaning that people that bought it through G2A or otherwise, they were not able to play that game anymore, even though they
Uh,
paid good money for it.
by the way, the
Bec-
developer and thing you're referring about, I found an article in 2017 in which
yeah,
a developer posted a poster saying, "Don't be a thief, at least just be a pirate. I don't actually condone piracy, but I'm willing to rationally admit that piracy is an objectively much less worse decision than supporting actual literal thieves." And it was the developer of a tower defense game called Defender's Quest. But this is
I
from
think it. Wait, when
2017.
was? No, this is a recent post.
I see that there is a petition for started by indie developers to get G2A to stop selling indie game keys.
Yeah, that is the rabbit hole I'm talking about because that is a recent development.
Yeah,
Um, and like it's actually kind of funny that a I know that G2A exists, but I didn't know that that's what they do. The worst
I
part
didn't know as
is
well.
that here's the worst part. So Steam caught on to this stuff recently, and they said, you know what, you're not allowed to sell Steam keys on your site anymore. So like Steam actively blocks the sale of Steam keys that are sold through G2A,
Okay.
but people found a loophole by using Steam gift keys instead.
Yeah, I saw something about that popping up just
So
now.
now that gets a little bit harder because a gift key doesn't really have someone who originally bought the key because it's a gift. So it doesn't show that information. So it's a lot harder to keep that stuff off of G2A.
Yeah.
So that is another thing that Steam is trying to tackle, but it's a lot more harder now. And G2A, through all of this, are saying, well, people just don't understand our business model. No, we understand your business model. Your business model sucks. And the worst part of it all is that recently they tried to have a I don't remember which site they tried to have this post on, but that site where it's like, yo, this is what G2A was trying to do with me, is that they wrote an article themselves stating why they're not guilty or why they're in the right. And they told this website that, oh, could you publish this on your website so that we look good? Oh, and don't tell us that we're paying you to publish this article. And don't let them know that we wrote the
Oh
article.
my god, that's just bad in so many ways. Why would
I
somebody
have
agree to this?
no, they didn't.
Oh, they just posted the
No,
whole
they didn't.
story.
They just posted the fact that that
Oh my
happened.
god.
And they're in denial. Now there's like this weird. I know that there's a litigation going on between them and like like the bigger guys. But the problem is that the little guy, the indie developers, are the one that are suffering the most of this because whenever someone buys a key that's already been used, like for example a review key that's already been used by a reviewer, then they're the ones that have to go and track it themselves. Like a big corporation like Ubisoft or Steam, they can do that themselves. That's not a problem. But the little guy has to actually actively hire someone because G2A is like, well, can you prove that the key was stolen? And you have to do that by hiring a third party that is independent and use them to verify that the key was actually stolen,
Ugh,
which costs way too much money for a small indie developer trying to make ends meet.
definitely.
So yeah, so I really hope that this gets resolved because this is so bad. And it's like really bad for like the PC community because
I was about
I
to
mean
say
there
that
are
because these issues never happen in, at least I have never had any issues with this or heard any issues regarding this around PlayStation Store or Xbox Store or eShop or whatever.
well, I mean considering that they sell game keys, I wouldn't be surprised that they also sell
I have seen
like
game keys
console
for
game
I
keys.
have seen Xbox game keys or Xbox related keys or downloadable content keys on
Yeah.
either G2A or CDkeys.com. I have seen it. It's just
Oh
that
god, let's not even begin about cdkeys.com. That is ass shady, if not even more than G2A. Like people know that cdkey.com is like shady AF. So,
it
but like
does.
the G2A stuff is, I didn't even know this rabbit hole
I
existed
didn't know
until
that as
that,
well. I'm just hearing it for the first
and it's
time.
still ongoing. So, if we find out more about it, we'll keep you guys posted on that.
Yeah.
But oof, that was that was all in 1 week, by the way.
Yeah.
The G2A thing that was like all in 1 week that got reported. So yeah, here's to corruption. Yay, yay.
Wow.
All right. So, I think that's about it in terms of like really interesting news that happened over the past couple of weeks.
There's one tiny
Um,
thing I want to share, which
ooh,
is in the
okay.
news, which is kind of heartbreaking for me at least. I'm a huge Battlefield fan, and everybody knows that by now that's been listening to this
Oh no,
podcast. And
what
unfortunately,
happened?
Battlefield 5 currently is plagued with all sorts of issues, all it being stability issues, being kind of game breaking bugs. Um,
Ooh,
and DICE is partially unable to fix it because there were some issues and they tried to hot fix it by deploying a hotfix, and some things got fixed, such as there was an issue around hitboxes, and then the hitboxes registration didn't work, so people would be killed in the weirdest ways because the hitboxes didn't work, and they semi were able to fix it. But let me put it this way: it got to a point that it was so breaking that I just stopped playing Battlefield, and I just don't want to play it until I'm 100% sure that everything's fixed. There's a bug in there that people are invisible in multiplayer and you just can't see them, but they can kill you. Meaning you're fighting against ghosts and you don't have a fair chance. And I don't
literal
know if they
ghosts.
fixed it, but I haven't been able to find everything around it that they've fixed it. Some were saying that Dice is unable to reproduce the issue or to find a fix for the issue. So um, that was kind of scary.
Hmm.
They have come out and say, "Hey, at this moment, stability is key. We're not going to do anything new. We're not going to work on anything new until we have Battlefield stable and working." Because there's
But
also been some performance issues with Battlefield going on from kind of the launch of the game, which are still out there.
I would imagine that they would, I don't know, play test it before they launch a patch.
They did, but the tricky part is that um, they posted an explanation around this, I believe, on Twitter or on the website, and I don't know all the details anymore. But they have said that uh, they have play tested it, and sometimes, for example, in one of the play tests, they figured out they
Hmm.
were going to launch a new map called Al Sudan, and during playtesting they found a game breaking bug in this map, and then they disabled the map. They still brought out the patch, but they disabled the map. So they said, okay, we need to find and fix this issue before we can release the map to everyone. It's just that there's so many things going on right now that it's just so difficult to, it feels like they're patching one wound and another starts to bleed in its place. uh,
Okay, that sounds gross.
it's just the first thing that popped into my mind.
Really, you couldn't say plumbing?
One of
which makes a lot more
Okay, so
sense.
they're trying to stop leakage, but as if that sounds better. And then when they fix one leak, another one occurs. So they're kind of drowning. Is that a better
Yes,
analogy?
yes, that is a better
Okay,
analogy.
well, I'll use that. I have another analogy, which I'm still saving for Anthem, but I'll just throw it in there when I can.
Hmm. Wow, that bites,
Yeah,
man.
because I
I mean,
haven't
it's
played
because the
Battlefield in 2 weeks now, and kind of feels like I'm in withdrawal. I'm just trying to find something else. My hands are shaking and I'm twitching, and it's just I don't know. I kind of did a cold turkey on Battlefield, which doesn't feel to get well.
well, then why don't you just return to Battlefield 1 for a while?
I've invested so much time in Battlefield 5. I have all the stuff unlocked. It's just yeah.
And you didn't do the same thing for 1?
I played one on the PlayStation, even though I bought it on the PC, but I never played it on PC. I played a lot on the PlayStation. To be honest, if I play Battlefield 1 on PlayStation, my ass will be handed so many times to me that I'll either smash my controller or never play Battlefield again. So I'm making a wise decision to skip out on that.
Alright, fair is fair. Oh, I hope that gets fixed soon, because it doesn't sound like it's gonna get fixed
Yeah, because
anytime
at
soon.
E3 they teased us with the upcoming ones, and they really teased us with some amazing stuff, such as Operation Underground, which is a remake of Operation Metro from Battlefield 3, and the Pacific is finally coming to Battlefield. I mean, it's like dangling a big bag of candy in front of your nose, saying you're gonna get this whole bag of candy. Oh, your teeth are gonna ache because of the sugar. And then in the last, just when you reach out to grab the bag, they slap you on the hand, say, "No, man, we're not gonna do that. We're thinking about your teeth. We don't want your teeth to rot out in one go." I'm like, I decide if my teeth rot out, or go. I don't need you to decide that for me. I'm old, wise enough.
Isn't it fun playing live games?
The guy that came up with that stuff really just uh, don't get me started.
All right. Okay. Well, let's have Sean Templar get off that sugar high and come back to earth. While we take a break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about what we've been playing other than Battlefield 5. And welcome back to the second segment where we talk about the games that we've been playing in the past couple of weeks. Sean Templar, what have you been playing?
Mighty Joy, I've been playing 2 games and I've had so much fun playing them.
All right.
I've
Let's hear 'em.
Since I've got this new beefier PC, I've been playing a lot of Total War 3 Kingdoms, and Mighty Joy, it's been such a pleasure playing that game.
All right.
I am, as I've been saying to some people at work, I am now the Emperor of China. And it
Oh,
feels
God.
so satisfying to be the Emperor of China.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the other thing.
China will grow larger,
Oh,
and
you
larger
did it.
China has grown under my command. It is so glorious to see China grow so large.
Why?
Because I
That was
can.
on that one was on me. I admit it.
If I could talk to my armies and inspire them, it would be the exact words I would have told them. You have helped China grow large, and for that I will reward you. Um, so I've been playing. What's cool about Total War is that you choose a. I've explained this briefly. You choose a faction, and with that faction, you start playing the game. It's important that you have certain goals you get from factions in the game that you can do, but the overall
Hmm.
goal is to unify China, because China is basically falling apart because the current Han dynasty is falling apart. And all sorts of people are trying to seize the throne. And eventually, or at least my faction's idea is to unify China under one banner and to create this peace. And so
Mm.
you have multiple roles or multiple titles, and you start out as a noble, and then you can level up, become a second marquis, as they call it. You become a duke, and then you become a king. And when
Mm.
you're king, you basically pronounce yourself Emperor of China. and then, or at least an emperor. And then what happens is two rival factions will also uh, claim legitimacy and say, no, 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 your claim is not legitimate. We are also the emperor. And then the game kind of divides itself into these three kingdoms, hence the name Three Kingdoms.
Oh, so
Um,
it is basically Romance of the Three
it is
Kingdoms.
literally Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and that's the beauty of it because all the characters from Romance of the Three Kingdoms are there as well.
All right.
And so you can choose between, I've explained before, romance mode, which is basically the heroic mode of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. So your heroes are these heroic units which can take on armies, or you can choose
Mm,
for record mode, in which it's a basic total war game and they can just die as any other human being. Um, you progress with these titles by completing certain objectives or having specific uh, tasks you can do, or moves you can make, such as conquer settlements or build certain structures that give you points which increase to that level. Um, what I've done is I am my faction is the Shu Kingdom. My character is called Liu Bei, and he is
mm,
this guy that comes from a poor background, but he really wants peace throughout the kingdom. He's this really genuine guy. He's loved by a lot of people, and um, one of the other kingdoms is the kingdom of Wei, which is at the time known as to be this really big faction. Its leaders really treacherous. It's really deceitful. And quickly on in my game, what happened is we got into this delicate moment of there was this fragile peace throughout China, in which nobody dared to attack each other. So eventually, what I did is I started to grow bigger and larger, and then
okay.
I vassalized a lot of factions. So I told factions like, okay, you can be part of my faction. You will keep your independence, but you will give me taxes and kickback and stuff like that. But I will protect you under my banner. And eventually, I became pretty large, and I thought, okay, this is the moment in which I need to take one of these kingdoms on because I can't stay in this stalemate forever. So I
Yeah.
started to come up with a plan and attack the kingdom of Wei, and before I knew it, my other vassals started approaching me saying, hey, if you want, we can join in the war. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And they joined the war. And eventually I started pushing this huge, they had the huge part of the map. And I started pushing them, the Wei Kingdom back slowly, eventually taking them out and taking their seat. Along the way, I might have kind of lost my lust for blood might have begun over the top, in which I executed a lot of generals that I captured from the other faction after a battle.
Whoops.
Yeah, a lot of other factions started to get mad at me, saying, "Oh, you're ruthless, and you killed my family, or you killed my kin." And I thought, "No, I don't care, man. You will not defy me. For me to unify China, I need to make these hard calls." So I executed a lot of them, and then
Whoops.
I don't know what happened, but after I defeated the Kingdom of Wei, there's one kingdom left, which is called the Kingdom of Ba. After I defeated the Kingdom of Wei, I don't know what I did. I ended up in a civil war. So one faction had lots of vassals and they ganged up on me. And before I knew it, I was in this massive civil war. And they
See,
were
that's what you get when you kill your that you kill the enemy
yeah,
generals
yeah.
just for kicks.
Yeah, and then all these factions are fighting against me, and I want to make peace with those factions. And it says, no, you can only make peace with the master of the vassals, and the master of the vassals hates my gut because I executed this family member. So I'm trying to struggle. I'm losing
Yeah.
territory on all sides, and then eventually there's an option in diplomacy in which you can say, make this work, and then they will suggest the things, or they'll say what they want. So eventually I had to give up two
Yeah.
territories, a lot of money, a lot of food to create this peace. And then I did it. Now I am in this really fragile peace. And then one of my vassals started to act up, talk bad. I thought, you know what? I can't deal with this right now. So I annexed him. And when you annex him, you
Oh
just take
no.
over all his territories, all his generals. He just literally becomes yours, and then their generals are part of your army. And then my upkeep went up, so I'm losing money. So I disbanded all those armies, and now there's public unrest in all those settlements. So my grand mission,
You suck as an
no, but my
emperor.
grand mission to unify China and to create peace in this beautiful kingdom
Failed.
is going. And
Is failing.
well, what I did is I had a few of my generals march into those cities and keep order, which is happening. But I had to exempt a few factions or cities from tax, so I'm not getting the money I deserve, because if I exempt them, they'll be happy. And now I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna wait this out a few turns. I'm just gonna do nothing, and hopefully the region will stabilize, and people will kind of like me again. Why won't you
Being a
like me? You
ruler
know?
is hard, isn't it?
Oh my god, it's so hard, but it's really fun. It's really really
See,
fun.
that's why it's always fun to be the hero because it has none of the nastiness of being a ruler.
In my eyes, I am the hero. I am the one that has the guts to make the hard decisions because I want to unify China. And there is only one way
Um,
to do it, and that's my way. Don't get in my
yeah,
way, or it's the highway, and then I execute you.
I'm pretty sure a lot of emperors thought that way too before they got executed.
Well, as long as I don't get executed, I'll just keep on going. But besides that, it's really fun. I've put in a lot of hours. I'm at 40 hours right now, and I also started a co-op campaign with a friend of mine,
Yeah.
which is also fun because then you can just play the whole campaign either as the cool part around that is that you can play the campaign or the campaign you can play the game that I've been playing as two separate factions. So you can
Oh.
attack each other at any time if you want. You can also form coalitions, or you can say, we're going to share the mandate of emperors. That means that you're basically going to strive to become emperor together, and that you
Hmm.
don't attack each other. You're basically, it's a one or nothing call. So when you make that call that you want to unify in a way,
Hmm.
you can't break off, you can't attack each other until you both become emperor. Then you can say, you know what, the fight is on, let's try to kill each other, and may the best man become the emperor.
What the hell?
What the cool part is I played a match with it. We were playing a game because if you're playing together, for example, and one gets attacked, the other can spectate, or he can play as the enemy army. At least that's what I
Yeah.
think it says. And the buddy of mine who built the PC, Lieutenant Moore 54, I was playing with him, and he was spectating, and I got to this moment in which my army is outranked hugely. I had like a 1,200 soldiers and I was facing off against 2,500 soldiers, something like that. And I said, okay,
Mm.
I know I'm going to die. The only goal I have right now is to create as much casualties in the enemy army as I can so that you can swoop in with your army from the next turn and finish him off. I'm just going to sacrifice my men so we can finish him off in the long run. He's like, okay, we're going to do that. And what we started to do is we started to lose, and eventually I had these two massive legendary heroes, and I told them, okay, we're going to do this crazy thing. You're both going to dismount and you're going to charge full on head into those armies, and you're going to try to kill as much as you can.
I
and
can see where this is
and
going.
this and it was, but that's the cool part, it was so amazing. And I don't know what the hell happened, but these guys were they had all these talents and all these abilities, and they literally kicked the ass of the other army,
No.
and I won the battle.
No
I
way.
shit you not. I won the battle. I was shocked as well. They were just slashing through those armies. I was constantly zooming in with my camera really up close, and I see them slashing with their spears, and you see all these men dying. And I have a blood and gore mod in there, so you
Yeah.
can see them chopping up arms and heads and blood all over the place. And they all just died. And it sounds really bad, but I just won. I was outnumbered so heavily, and I won. And we were both amazed. We're like, what the hell just happened? This is in no way possible. And I just won this battle. It was amazing. I wish I had saved a replay
Oh,
of that. That would have been
I
so
wish you
cool.
did.
Yeah, that was, oh my God. I never thought it was going to happen. And I just won.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Yeah. And that
I
was my
actually thought that.
passionate time with Three Kingdoms.
Yeah, yeah. Was it good for you too?
Ah, I loved it. Oh my
I'm
God. And it's
sorry.
cool that they recently introduced mod support through the Steam Workshop. So there are lots of
Okay.
mods you can add to the game. I, for example, have mods in which the combat is a bit more realistic. The generals can't die of old age because I really wanted to just keep them in, long as possible.
Hmm.
There's these unit
Wait, the
skins.
general can die of old age?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
Um, I've had these mods that add visuals to the armor or give certain units more armor. It's cool. That's one of the games I've been playing, and the other game I've been playing is Detroit Become Human, which
Ah,
was this month's free PlayStation Plus game,
well, one of them.
one of them. And funny that it was supposed to be PES 2019, a soccer
Yeah.
game, and at the last moment it switched to Detroit. I was really happy with that choice.
Apparently, according to Konami, Sony made that choice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at the last, like literally at the last minute, Sony just decided, you know what? We are we've been apparently they've been getting too much complaints that the past couple of games have been too many sports games.
Mm.
So they're like, okay, let's take this out. We'll keep Horizon Turbo in there, and we'll put in Detroit Become Human. And it's not just Detroit Become Human, it's the special edition,
Yeah,
the deluxe version that comes with Heavy Rain. So
yeah.
if you missed out on Heavy Rain the past two times, then you're in luck because this is the third time you're getting Heavy Rain on PlayStation 4,
I
or at least on
finished.
PlayStation 4 Plus.
I got a platinum for the PS3 version, so I'm never playing that game anymore.
I actually started playing the game a while ago, but unlike Fahrenheit, I kind of can't really get into that. So I don't know. But yeah, that is an interesting thing that they did. I'm kind of I want to play Detroit to Become Human as well. I don't know how has it been so far for you?
I really like it because what I loved about Heavy Rain is that you have choices, and based on the choices, you get multiple endings. And I saw all
Mm.
the endings for that game, and they were pretty different. And with this, you after you complete every level, you see a flow chart of all the choices you made and all the choices you missed out on. And
Oh,
sometimes there are multiple endings to a certain level, and
yeah.
you can't see what those options were, but you can see what you missed. And sometimes there are these super long flowcharts in which the narrative or the game or the level branches off in so many ways. You think, oh wow, oh I could have maybe done that differently, or maybe I could have done this differently. So the game really motivates you to uh, finish the game or try to play the game again because of those different endings. Basically, the game revolves around that in 2083, that we live in a world in which androids have become part of our lives. They're, in a way, slaves because they just do our dirty work. They serve us. They help us with raising the kids.
Blade
They
Runner.
clean the house. Um, they do all these sorts of things, and then some of them start to go against their programming and start to become what they call deviants in the game. They start to be try to be autonomous and try to think for themselves, and they start to feel emotions. That's strange for a robot, of course, but yeah, they start feeling fear or happiness or even love later in the game. You see different examples of it.
Yeah.
And you play as these androids. You play as Connor, which is a detective android. He is a state-of-the-art prototype android, which works as a negotiator. That's the first mission. There was also the demo that came out before the game came out, in which you have to negotiate the freedom of a little girl that's been held hostage by its android nanny.
Mm.
You play as a woman called Kara, which is a uh, household android, which is part of this really poor family. Father lost his job, is a drunk, is a drug addict, has a little girl, and
But can
he
afford an Android.
yeah, that's strange. Yeah, because these androids are all they it's like getting a phone. It's really cheap. You can pay in
Uh,
installments.
well, it's like getting certain phones.
Yeah, yeah. But that's it's that way. And then you play as another android. He's called Marcus, and he is this kind of this. I wouldn't necessarily say slay. I would say caretaker android. Have you seen the movie Les Intouchables or Les Intouchables? It's a
Yeah,
French
yeah, yeah, yeah.
movie in which a an old man is in a wheelchair
Yeah,
and his
getting the caretaker is like I think it was a black man.
yeah
Yeah,
he's actually from the street in a way, the guy, and then he
yeah.
becomes friends with him and he helps him out. It's basically the same setup, same person
Oh,
of
okay.
color, same guy in a wheelchair kind of setting. The guy's an artist.
Wow, Detroit Become Human, borrowing a lot of different influences, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And then there are certain events that happen in the game, and because of those certain events, the characters are led on their own journeys. Um, the detective one gets paired up with the actual detective, and they try to find out more about these deviant cases that are starting to occur more and more, and they start to murder their owners or their hosts, to put it that way. The Caro one is trying to escape together with the little girl, and Marcus is trying to spark a revolution slash a rebellion of the androids in a way. So there's a lot going on. The cool thing is that the characters that you play with are actual real life people. So a lot of them have starred in movies or TV shows.
Oh, you mean they did performance capture?
Yeah, and there are
Okay.
also NPCs that you play together with are also known Hollywood actors.
Alright.
Yeah, that's I think it's a theme Quantic Dream generally uses because they also did
Did they
that
do that for Heavy Rain? I mean, I know they did that for
Beyond Two
the
Souls,
other
for
game.
example, because
Yeah,
William
yeah,
Dafoe
yeah.
was in there, for example.
And Ellen Page.
Ellen Page, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I can't remember if they did it for Heavy Rain. At least I can't remember if the characters are real life characters. But I know that with the last two games they've done, Beyond Two Souls and Detroit,
Yeah.
these people I've seen them in TV shows, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
So if you haven't tried it out, download it on the PlayStation Store for with your PS Plus subscription. You have one because it's free this month.
yeah.
It's a
I mean, I
real cool
already
game.
claimed it. Well, the same reason I haven't been playing Division 2 lately is because I don't have space on my hard drive, so I
Oh
need
my
to
god.
invest in an external hard drive for that.
Yeah.
But right, cool. Awesome. Um anything else you played?
That's it. Just tell me what
Just
you've
those
been
two.
playing.
Oh, right, because you couldn't play Battlefield because you're gone to cold turkey.
I don't want to talk about it. It's a sensitive subject.
I just wanted to bring it up one more time.
Thank you so much for rubbing salt in the wound.
Yeah, so I've been playing a bunch of games in various lengths. The thing that I've been spending most of my time in, of course, has been Mario Maker 2. I've been making some levels. I actually made some levels. If people are interested, they can follow me on my Twitter, which is at Maximilian. I'll be posting my codes there, so if they want to check it out, they can.
I actually played one of
Um,
your levels. It's really hard.
it's really hard because you don't play Mario games.
Well, I can't argue with you on that one.
Because that was one of my easier levels.
Oh my
Because
god.
the other level I made was way more.
This
It
isn't
it
encouraging
was
me
way
to
more
even
precise.
try anymore.
No, no. I mean, the thing is, I'm relearning how to make Mario levels because I learned how to do it in the first Mario Maker, but I haven't touched that game in like 2 years, so I have to relearn all that. The cool thing is that Mario Maker 2 actually has a very cool and in-depth way of learning levels. The first way is to play the story mode, which the first game didn't have. They have a bunch of levels of varying degrees of difficulty that actually teach you in a playing way how to design a level, and they also have these interesting videos, I would say, where you're being taught how to make good respectable levels through a pigeon named Yamamura and a girl named Nina. A pigeon. So that's that. um yeah, so I've been playing the story mode. I actually finally beat it, um which is great because it gives you more stuff to do in the game. And I've been playing some other people's levels in varying degrees. A lot of them are either really trolly or, yeah, just really trolly. But some of them are really cool because what some people have been able to do is make music in Mario Maker. And it's something that they did in the first Mario Maker, but in this one it's even better because they have a few more tools to do that in. And I played some levels, like one of them has the music for Splatoon 2 in it, recreated in a level, which is really cool. And another one had a piece of music that was from Donkey Kong Country. I think it's one of the boss themes, which is so cool because all you do is just run through the level and the music is playing. That is so. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how it works. I'm gonna try and figure it out so I can try building one myself. But that is really cool. So that's what I've been doing, at least with Mario Maker 2. Fun to jump in and out and stuff like that. So that's that.
I have to say
What
that
I've
the level creation tool you showed me, it
Yeah.
really looks nice and accessible. It's not that
Oh, it
overly
is.
complicated.
It is. It's very accessible. Like that's the only. Like actually, that is the only gripe I have with this game because at least on the Wii U, you had a separate tablet to do that in. So you had a display on the screen, but you also had a tablet with a stylus and where you can fine tune your levels
That's
and then
nice.
jump in and out and play.
Yeah.
The unfortunate problem with the Switch is it doesn't have the two screen solution. So you're either editing on the Switch itself, or when you put it in the dock, you have to use a controller instead. It's not that it's not doable with a controller, it's just that it's not as precise or as quick
I sense
as just taking the Switch out of the
an
dock.
extension coming up for people that own a Switch and a Switch Lite that you can just dock your Switch and then grab your Switch Lite and then use that as the way you just described it. That would be the ultimate
If
cash grab.
only. If only. Well, yeah, no, really, if only, because that would be really handy. Um, if that was something that you could do, I would totally welcome that. By the way, but I don't think that that's something that they're gonna do. So it's either or. Um, but they added like a whole. They actually added. So how do I explain this? So the original Mario Maker had four styles that you can choose from: Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario World, and Super Mario Brothers. Or sorry, New Super Mario Brothers U. Ugh, long title. Um, but now with Super Mario Maker 2, they added an extra style, which is Super Mario 3D World, which kind of negates the 3D because it's on a 2D plane. It's kind of 2.5D ish, but that is a whole separate style onto itself. And it does not translate over to the other four styles like it does in the past. Because if you make, for example, a level with the Super Mario Brothers style, you can just tap on a button, switch to, like, for example, Super Mario World, which is my personal favorite, and then it'll switch, and the level will stay the same with all the elements switched to the Super Mario World tile set. But you can't do that with Super Mario 3D World because that uses a completely different physics set and a completely different tile set. So you either make it in one of the four styles that is available, or you have to do it in like specifically the Super Mario 3D World style, which is kind of a bummer. But I get it. So yeah, I mean that's what I've been playing. The other thing that I actually played when I went back to is the ultimate battle royale, Tetris 99.
Whoa, that's a long time since I've heard you play that.
I mean, I play it on and off, but not as much. Mostly because it is very difficult to get number one.
Have you ever gotten
Unless
winner
no,
winner chicken dinner or victory royale or whatever they call it
n-
in?
no, that yeah, they call it a Tetris Maxima when you get number one.
Hmm.
Which is also the name of the tournaments that they hold. And recently, this past weekend they just had another tournament. And the cool thing that they're doing right now is that when they do hold a tournament, they have a prize other than the 10 euros that you can win. Because let's face it,
Wow, that's a
the
lot.
10 euros that you can win in the eShop is a lot more difficult because you have to win like a bunch of tickets, and you only get a ticket per 100 points, and you only get a certain amount of points when you win a certain rank and whatever. Um, so now they also have, like, if you get the first 100 points, you win the what is it? You win the theme of that tournament. So the first time they did this, they had the Game Boy theme. So the whole game was, I don't know what do you call it, sepia tone. So it looked exactly like
Oh, nice.
the Game Boy Tetris with the Game Boy tile set, and like Game Boy borders, and the sounds and everything was Game Boy. And this weekend they had the Splatoon 2 theme. So the music was Splatoon 2, the sound effects were Splatoon 2, the colors were Splatoon 2, the borders, everything was themed after Splatoon 2. Because in another thing that I'm gonna mention real quickly after this, it's about Splatoon 2 that's coming to a close. But so I played that this weekend, so I can at the very least get the theme. So I did that. But I played my last set today, and I actually got seventh place, and it was probably the best I've played in weeks
Wow.
because I was in the zone. And I started that set off really bad because I was making mistake after mistake. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get wrecked. But then I started getting into the zone, and I was putting Tetraminos where they belong, and I was just kicking butt. I was kicking so much butt. I'm like, okay, okay. Now I'm in the last 50. Oh, now I'm in the last 25. Oh, now I'm in the last 10. I can do. Oh no. Oh no. I made a mistake, and then I lost. I ended up seventh, which is good. Not as good as my best because my best was ending fifth place. But this was a victory for me because it was the first time in a really long time that I ended up in the top 10. so so yeah, so now at least I have that theme permanently. And recently they actually added a offline mode, but the offline mode is a separate thing that you can just buy for $10. So for people that don't have the Nintendo online service, they can just buy the offline version for $10, which allows you to play against 98 computer players or play head to head with other people locally. So, you know, that's a thing. I haven't bought it yet because why would I buy something that I can play for free in quotes right now?
I'm going to ask you the $1 million question, and then if
Mm,
you answer that question wrong, I'm going to tell you why you need to stop buying games until you've done this.
all right.
Have you finished Horizon Zero Dawn? I'm going to take that as a no. So maybe you should just keep your money in your pocket and finish the effing game before you buy
I'm
something
not gonna
else.
I'm not gonna buy the Tetris one. I'm not gonna buy it. I mean, I get
Don't
it for
buy
free with my
anything. Jesus. I'm
well, you
never going to
can't
get you
tell
a
me.
game for your birthday anymore.
I'm gonna finish it, I promise.
Jesus. You're keeping us in suspense, whereas people could have.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Oh my god!
But I got really into Mario Maker too, and
Nobody cares about Mario Maker.
and I got a challenge from a friend who made this level that is just incompletable. I mean, it took him 4 days to finally upload the dang thing
I heard that because I heard that you have to first finish your level before you can upload
before you're
it,
allowed to
which
upload
I
it. Yeah,
love because that way you can prevent like these impossible levels of popping up online. That's really cool that they moderate it in that way.
yeah, unless they were able to defeat the impossible level and upload it anyways.
Hmm. Yeah.
It took him 4 days to finally beat his own level so that it would upload.
Hey, that's good. At least then it's not an easy level. At least I don't hope it's an easy level.
It is impossible. Nobody's ever finished it. Like
Besides
it's
himself.
online right now. I checked it today, and then still nobody's defeated it. I actually put it on my Twitter as a challenge to like, oh, my friend made this level. It's unbeatable, but if you can beat it, like more power to you. so,
Eternal respect.
yeah, because he was like getting worried that nobody would finish it, so that and it because if it's not popular, it's not getting propagated,
Can
so
you see
people are
if it's
not playing
popular
it.
or how many people played it?
Yeah, you can see how many people tried it. You can also see if it's popular by the amount of likes it got. Um, so yeah,
Maybe we should do a video around it. We just film you trying to beat the level, and if you can't beat it, maybe we should.
do you want me to go insane?
No, but you have these challenges in which the ice bucket challenge, in which you do the ice bucket
Yeah,
challenge and you nominate someone else to do it. Maybe
yeah.
we should do it. If it's such an unbeatable level, let's see if
Oh,
someone
I'm
else
sure
can.
that someone out there will be able to beat it. I'm just saying, I'm not one of them. I mean, I'll try, but oh my goodness, seriously, if you could, here's the thing: if someone out there, I already posted the code on my Twitter, but if there's someone out there that can beat this level, I will actually give them a game on Steam because that's the
Okay,
only
but
thing I
maybe
can
you
give. I
should
can buy codes for Switch or
maybe
whatever.
you should limit it and not this game on Steam. Say I'll buy you a game up to, because otherwise people say I want Total War 3 game games. Bam, that's $60 out of your wallet.
Oh no, I'm choosing the game myself.
Oh wow, okay.
You'll get a game from me and you'll like it. And trust me, I won't make it a trash game. I won't make it one of those weird visual novel games that
Give
make you
people
do weird stuff.
Astroneer.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I dabbled a bit more into Bloodstain Ritual of the Night, which is not a game I bought. It's a game that I backed as a Kickstarter.
What's the
So
difference
you kind of
between
can.
buying a game and backing a game? You eventually give money to that game.
That was 4 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
So you can't say I recently bought a game. No, I just recently got a game that was released. So yeah. I got it on Switch. I think I said it on
Have
the
they
last
fixed the
episode before.
performance issues?
They have not.
No, that's a bummer.
But I know that they're working on it, but there are like a bunch of other stuff that is kind of working against the Switch version. So they're working on that. And they have been giving regular updates as to where they are in fixing stuff.
That's nice.
So that is nice. Whenever that happens, I'll let you guys know what the performance has been improved. But other than that, the game is not bad. It's challenging, and the frame rate can be kind of weird, but it's not. The frame rate is not that bad because the frame rate is at the very least stable. That is the least of the worries.
Nice.
The worries is more that the input lag is kind of all over the place,
Yeah, it's a bummer.
which doesn't work when you have to platform, when you have to do precise jumping, and that's kind of what the problem is with the game. It's why I'm not playing it at a constant pace because the game itself is pretty good, and I've gotten some sweet ass powers and abilities. But yeah, it's just I don't know, man. It's like I want to finish the game, but I kind of wish they would at the very least fix the input lag. I mean, if they fix the input lag, then it's a total easy piece breeze through because that means that you can actually do the precise platforming in there, and the precise attacks. Because sometimes I'll just hit an attack and the attack won't execute on time or not execute at all, so it won't even register the input. And I've had the game crash on me twice just by reading a book
Damn.
in the game. So that sucks because now I'm because you have to read the books um because they contain moves that you can do in the game and they contain information that you need to proceed in the game. So if you try and read a book and it crashes on you, you kind of have the feeling like maybe you should just skip the books. So yeah, I don't know. It kind of has prevented me from playing it more, but if they fix that, then I'll be able to play it normally. At the very least, I would be able to play it. Like if they fix those two problems, it fixes like a lot, like 50% of the problems that annoy me at this point. But other than that, yeah, it's a fun game. I mean, it's not as pretty as on PlayStation 4 Pro or on Xbox One X, but it's a fun game. It's Castlevania Symphony of the Night, like. So, so those are the games that I've been playing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any
So
last
yeah, I
comments you want
guess
to add before we move on to our hidden gems?
I well, I did touch a bit up on Horizon Turbo Chase on PlayStation, like for a bit, just to check out how it feels in comparison to playing it on a smartphone. But
As
yeah,
long as
feels the
it's not
same.
Horizon Zero Dawn, I just don't want to talk about
It's a different Horizon
it. Yeah.
that takes up a lot less space than friggin' Division 2. Like seriously, like the patch is the same size as the game. You know what? I'm not gonna get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it for what we've been playing. So stick around, and after this, we'll be talking about our hidden gems.
Alrighty, welcome back, everybody, to our last segment, the hidden gem.
Yes, yes,
What is
hidden
your hidden
gems.
gem?
Well, my hidden gem. I said that last time was the last time for a while that I was gonna do a handheld game,
Is this
but
another 3DS game?
it's not a it's not a 3DS game.
Is this another DS game?
Yes,
Oh God, let's get
but
it
this
over with.
but this one this is the last I'm gonna do it for a while. So just bear with me, please, because this is a franchise that unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. So I wanted to at least bring it up and give it some lip service, and that is the Owendon series slash Elite Beat Agents, which is a
What?
rhythm game.
Another
Um,
rhythm game?
did I talk about another rhythm game before?
Uh, what's it called? Cadence of Hyrule,
Oh
yada
yeah, but
yada,
no, but
yada
that
yada
was
yada.
but that was something that I was actively playing and not a hidden
Okay,
gem.
okay.
This is a hidden gem. It is a series that came out during the heyday of the DS, so 2004. No, not 2004. That's actually when the system came out. 2005, 2006, ish, around that time. It's published by Nintendo, developed by Innis, which is a developer that doesn't exist anymore. Well, it doesn't exist anymore as Innis. It's rebranded. Um, but it is a unique rhythm game where you use the bottom screen to do the actions for the game, tap and drag on rhythm. And well, the cool thing about this, if you're anything into Japanese culture, is that you are a cheer squad or an Owendan team, as they call it,
Oh God.
and you cheer people on during their lowest point of their life. So, for example, there's a guy that is a doctor who is giving up his very luxurious career as a doctor to move to an island and be the island doctor. And this is a very weird island because, according to the islanders, the doctor fixes everything. So, not just regular patients, he has to fix electronics, he has to take care of the animals, he has to fix fences and stuff like that. And then he hits a low point to where he screams to the heavens, "Oh, and done!" And then the team appears, and that's when the stage starts, and you basically cheer him on as he does his tasks. And there are very different like scenarios, like weird ones. There's one where you cheer on a company that builds things, and they suddenly get attacked by a 50-foot cat that's destroying the city. So they pull out their mech to defeat the giant cat, and then they have to get cheered on by the Owendan. There's one scene where a guy is trying to get cell reception, and you're trying to cheer him on. There's like these weird scenarios, and the final battle for the second game, for example, is saving the world from a meteor strike. So you have to cheer on the entire world into deflecting the meteor, which, well, to spoil the ending, doesn't end well. Kinda, sorta. Um, but it's a really cool series. In Japan, there were two games that came out. In the West, we actually had a localized version called Elite Beat Agents, where they switched out the Oendan team for a secret service team that cheers on people
I
when they're
think
in
I remember
trouble.
something like that.
And it's fine. The reason why I'm putting more emphasis on the Japanese version is because they use Japanese songs, Japanese songs that they license, like J-pop and rock and whatever you can imagine is in there. And then, of course, in the localized version, it's all you know Western songs that are either royalty free or where they can get the license for easy. So it's Village People and Cindy Lauper and like stuff from the 90s. And it's fine. The gameplay is still the same. I at that time in my life I was getting more and more into J-pop, so I liked those games more. It's just a shame that I think it was after the second game got released. Soon afterwards, the company kind of went under, and then they rebranded as a different development team, and now they're doing like most other smaller developers, they do mobile stuff now.
Mobile stuff.
Yeah, so
So
it's kind of
condescending.
well, it's not like I'm not slighting them. I understand you have to put food on the table, but it's kind of a shame, really, because they were working with Nintendo, and Nintendo published all these games, and they were really fun. I mean, they were a niche title for what they are because they're rhythm games, so it's already a niche of a niche. And of course, you can't localize the Japanese version; you have to make it Western, but they're not that hard. I mean, you don't need it to be in English because if you understand the menus, then you can just play the games very easily. So if you're looking to buying it, I recommend either getting Elite Beat Agents if you want it really specifically in English. If you don't care about the language barrier, look up Oendan or Oendan 2 for the DS. Although one thing that did come out of that was a PC version that was made by fans
Wow.
called OSU exclamation point, which you I think can download for free. I think it was a freemium game, and basically it's a community game, which means people in the community for OS are making levels for that game. So you
That
have
sounds
like
cool.
a whole bunch of other songs in there, and it's just yeah, it's really cool. And you do have to play with the mouse, but if you have like a drawing stylus, I would assume that would work as well. I played that a couple of years ago. I haven't checked up on the community, but I'm assuming that it's still alive and well because people like if it was up to people, there would be a new Owendan game. But since they can't get that, they play us. So
Nice.
yeah, if you're into rhythm games, pick that one up. It's really fun. It's really cool. It's really easy to get into if you get the Japanese version. Um, and honestly, I like the scenarios in the Japanese version a bit better because they're really, really out there. Like one of them is a mother accidentally tosses out her daughter's like childhood toys, and she was looking for them, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, dear, I threw them out with the garbage." And then the toys themselves come to life and actually make their way back to the owner, and you're cheering the toys on.
Sounds like Toy Story.
Yeah, it sounds like Toy Story, but it's this cute little like monkey puppet and this toy soldier thing. It's like, why would a little girl have a toy soldier? But whatever. Like the Nutcracker, like that kind of
Oh
toy
wow.
soldier. So, but it's like this really hilarious scenario because whenever you do well, you see them really like working hard to get back, and if you do poorly, they also do poorly. So they're like making mistakes and like yada yada yada. And if you're like doing average, they go at like a normal pace. It's just so hilarious. It's
Nice.
just yeah. So if you're into rhythm games, pick that up. Like however you can find it. Like if you can find it, if you go to Japan or find it on a resale website, not G2A. Um, Pick it up. It's a good one. Get it.
Okay, nice, nice.
So,
Um,
what's your hidden gem?
Mine is a game called The Order 1886,
Ooh,
which is a PS4 exclusive made by Ready at Dawn. And the guys at Ready at Dawn are known for making God of War on the PSP at the time. They made two
hmm
God of War games on PSP, which were really good games.
I thought they made three.
I thought too. I'd have to check that. And they also made the Daxter game. So you had Jack and Daxter, the Naughty Dog game, and they
Yeah, yeah,
made a
yeah.
separate Daxter game on PSP as well. And these was really good games. And then they did The Order 1886 as a PS4 exclusive for Sony, which is
hmm
a game. I think I could best describe as the movie Underworld. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie with Kate Beckinsale.
I've heard of the
Yeah,
movie.
so it
Yeah.
basically
I,
is the best representation. To wow, I just can't find what to compare it to. Is Underworld in a steampunk Victorian Industrial
okay.
Revolution setting.
Yeah.
So you play as a character who is called, I believe, Galahad. And basically, what's happened is that the Knights of the Round Table of the King Arthur legend have lived on through centuries and are fighting um, monsters, in this case, specifically werewolves.
Hmm.
And they're trying to protect humanity from them. And then there are multiple characters that are part of these Knights of the Round Table, and they have the names of the Knights of the Round Table, such as Arthur and Lancelot. And if one dies, another could take his place, and it gets that name. And these characters are also, I thought they were either immortal or had long life. So they
Yeah, I
would,
think it was. I think they lived a long life.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think they had a long life, and they could also, for example, if they got hurt, they could drink a certain potion which would heal them. And basically, in Victorian London, steampunk Victorian London, you're trying to hunt down these werewolves and
Were they called werewolves? I think they were called something
they
else.
had a different name, yeah. I can't
Yeah.
remember the name. It's a couple of years since I played the game. At the time, it was one of those games that really made the PlayStation shine. It really showed the graphical capability of the PlayStation. It's a beautiful game. Um, it kind of also got hit with a, I wouldn't say controversy, but with a bit of negativity because the game was so pretty and so on rails. The game, you could finish it in 6 hours, I believe,
Yeah.
and it will cost 60 euros. And one of the complaints in the reviews, in a lot of reviews, was that it felt too restricted, too on rails. Um, Exploration generally in games is encouraged, and in this game, it was a lot around there's a really certain specific path you have to follow, and that's the only path you can follow. And developer said, well, we just have this really cinematic story slash game, and we have a way we thought out we want you to follow that story because that's the best way you can experience the game. And it was a third person shooter, and you would have different kind of weapons, different kind of gadgets. You were kind of the James Bond of the era because you had all these cool gadgets and weapons, and the story was really, it was a cool story. They also built the game out as a franchise, so the
Yeah.
idea was that there were going to be sequels. Unfortunately, till date, there's only the Order 1886. I think the IP is owned by Sony, so if Sony ever wants to do more with it, they can.
Yeah.
But it was real cool. It was really beautiful. The environment's really beautiful. The performance capture was really good. The combat was really good. There were a lot of puzzles in it. They also had this, I believe it was a 29 by 1. They had this really cinematic aspect ratio. So the
Yeah.
game would have these black bars in it, but it would really enhance the cinematic experience of the game. Um, and then there would be a certain famous people throughout history that would also pop up in the game. And you would have different kinds of segments. One segment you're really exploring, one segment you're really sneaking in the game, one segment it's all around the combat. There was a segment that at one of those, I think it's either Buckingham Palace or a really famous point in London, and then it would get attacked by all these werewolves, and you would just have to hold out, hold the bridge, and then you would get all these cool weapons. You would just keep on mowing them down, and you would have these soldiers fighting with you. It was a really cool game, and I'm really bummed that they didn't do anything more with it. I remember at the time when they first announced it and showed it, people were really amazed by the graphical fidelity of the game. Um, and I always
Well,
thought,
people got burnt by the PlayStation 3 launch, because they
yeah,
had a bunch of games that were pre-rendered and they said no, this is in game, and then they had to retract it later on.
that just Killzone 2, unfortunately,
And Motorstorm.
and Red Resistance, Follow Man. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I understand the skepticism, but it was a really cool game. It came out the second year of the PS4, I believe, and I thought, you know what, I'll just wait for this game to be $30, and then I'll just buy the game. And I saw it somewhere for $30, and I just bought it.
Has it been on PlayStation Plus?
I don't know. I was just looking that up. It kind of feels like it was, but I just don't know for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, it was definitely worth the $30, and I think you can buy it now everywhere for $30. So if you really want one of those cinematic games that just has a good story and takes you on a roller coaster ride, um, just buy it. It's a $30 well spent. I think people will like it a lot. It's also cool because it has a kind of relatable story with the King Arthur and those characters you've all always heard about or seen about in those movies.
Mm.
Um, I really like it. Yeah, it's again the game. What I saw a lot in the reviews and which resonates is it it doesn't do anything new, but what
Mm.
it does really well. And to be honest,
Yeah.
that's okay enough for me. I think this is one of those games that's overlooked a lot, and it can be a really fun cinematic experience.
Yeah. I haven't checked it out myself because back then I didn't have a PlayStation 4, but I did hear the controversies about. The one thing that I will say is that I heard one of the things is that they ran out of time. Um, that was, I think, one of the rumors that was floating around that they didn't have enough time to actually flesh out the game, and that's the reason why the game is structured the way it is.
I honestly don't know about that. I read an interview with the studio director saying that they did set it up as a multi-year franchise or multi-part
It
franchise.
seemed like it would be considering the naming.
Yeah, and also the way it ends. So there is enough in there to excite people, to make people curious for sequels.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know if it's ever gonna happen.
you
So
never know. Maybe Sony might revive it in the next gen.
yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
Well, I tried to look it up in the meantime. I'm not seeing it in any list,
I think it's been
so
in
it
a lot of
hasn't been.
speculations around PS Plus games.
Yeah, I don't think it. Yeah, at least it hasn't done. That's kind of disappointing. Why would you not do that?
Yeah,
I mean, it's a good chance to give it like a second chance to see if people are actually interested in it.
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have like access to the metrics to these kind of things.
It'd be a shame if
So
they didn't.
yeah, who knows? Maybe they'll do that in the future.
Yeah.
It's not like they got anything interesting coming out these days.
I'm just going to say what I've said after E3, what I said during E3, what I'm going to say the whole year. We're in a gap year for
Yeah,
Sony and Microsoft.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But next year, Sony's going to shine the stars out of heaven.
Well, if people don't know what they're gonna play on a PlayStation 4, at least they have something to revisit.
All right, we're going to get Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us next year. Everybody's going to talk about that game.
Yeah, but I mean, for right now, at least they can revisit the other
Yeah.
1883 and see if it's something
1883.
that they want,
Yeah.
if they would want a sequel to. So,
Yeah.
all right, that is it for us, I guess, for this week. Unless you want something else to add.
No, that's it.
Yeah. Cool. This has been fun as always. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for listening as always. You can hit us up on Twitter. We're on at game underscore rivals underscore. You can find me on Twitter at Maximilian. You can always send us an email to gamerivalsfeedback at gmail.com. You can also find us on any podcasting service that you prefer: Apple Podcast, Google Play Store, Spotify,
Overcast.
Overcast, you name it, you can probably find us there. We also got, as you can see, a brand new and actual official podcast art,
It's
which
so
was made
pretty.
by our fan, but it was made by one of our friends called Beatmall. He's on Twitter at Beatmall1, so you can find him there. Give him nice compliments on the sweet ass art that he made. I'm sure if there's something that you want him to make, you can probably send him a request on there as well. So feel free to do that. Um, yeah, I think that's all the things that they people can find us on
People
and
can
contact
also
us
leave
on.
us a voice message through the Anchor website or the Anchor app. There's a link in our description, and people can just click on the link. They don't have to make an account, and they
That's
can
right.
leave us a voice clip with either a question or their feedback or cool remarks if you want to.
Yeah. And they can, of course, always leave feedback on whatever podcast service that they use. So please leave us feedback. Um, if you can, leave us a 5-star review because that'll help us get more and more up in the aggregate, and more people will be able to find us
Or tell
and listen to
anyone
us.
about us. Just tell a friend
And
about
tell
it.
your friends, tell your family members that love playing video games that they can listen to two awesome gamers that come together, set aside their differences, even though one of them is clearly more right than the other. And
I hope
yeah,
you're
just listen
referring
to
to
us.
me because we all know that it's true.
Well, I'm gonna leave it up to the listeners because they know what's up.
I think the listeners all have a PS4, so I think I'm gonna take this win and put it in my corner.
I'm pretty sure that they also have switches, so I'm gonna put it in my corner. But this has been Maximilian X
And Sean Templar.
signing off. Until next time.